Hello, and welcome back to another episode of my Aston Martin driver career mode. And I believe this is episode number 19, I want to say, for the... I actually don't know what to call it. Is it the American Grand Prix? It's the Circuit of the Americas. Is it the Texan Grand Prix? It's George Russell already out of the session. I'm going to call it the Texan Grand Prix. But I'm not sure because there's like 27 races for in America next season. As looking at George Russell here, it appears that he's just pulled off on the track of his own free will. It doesn't look like he's crashed with anyone. I assume he's had some kind of engine failure, but he's out of qualifying. Not too good for the Mercedes man. He will probably be lining up P20 on the grid if maybe someone else could go behind him. I don't know how someone could go behind him. He hasn't said. Actually, did he say? No, he would have just started his lap, wouldn't he? He would have just done his out lap. That is poor timing from George Russell's engine. But speaking of starting laps, that is just about what we are going to do. We had to fiddle around with the brightness settings because if you don't know at Cota, on that back straight, there is a massive bit of sun that just blinds you completely. And yeah, so I had to try and turn the brightness down for that. But now getting onto our lap, we have a pretty solid turn one. I have a setup which very unlike my normal choices. This setup is a very high downforce setup compared to the AI. So they have a lot of straight line speed and I have a lot of cornering speed. It feels really weird as we slightly cut the track. We're trying to get past Esteban Ocon, but he just won't let us out of the way. He finally lets us go. And now onto the back straight. You can see that blinding sun that we tried to get rid of by turning the brightness down. Clearly, we were unsuccessful, and that did hinder us a bit in qualifying. But I assume that it might hinder the AI as well. Hairpin now, get good through there. Not quite on the apex through those two corners. Can we try and find some time in the final sectors? We are going to come across the line in a couple of seconds. Activating DRS. We're across the line for a 1:35.3. 1.8 seconds off the Red Bull of Sergio Perez. Now, coming on to the second lap now, we are going to have to improve on that lap time from before. As yeah, we gotta be flying Hasses. We gotta have points. As you can see, through turn one, we gained about 2 seconds, but then lost it all on exit. We had a very good exit lap one. Now on to the straight, we're about a 10th down. Can we find any time through the hairpin? We missed the apex here last lap. Can we find anything here this lap? We still kind of missed the apex again. You kind of need to send like half your car over that curve, maybe even a full car, to try and not just get floor damage. But this lap is kind of down the toilet. We may as well keep going because we might find some random thing, but yeah, it's not looking hopeful. This lap's about 8 tenths down. At this point, I'm thinking we may as well just pull into the pits. And I believe that is exactly what we are going to do. We're going to abandon this lap time and start up a whole new other lap time, because that lap time was just not going to cut it. On our out lap here, we're in P16 as heating up the tyres. We ran majorly wide there, and I don't know if you guys can see it on the video, but it is actually starting to rain around Cota. There you go, there are the droplets on the camera. We had a bit around the hairpin before, but it is starting to rain, which means that no one is going to be able to improve their lap times, which means we're going to be starting P16 without penalties being applied. So can we might get completely fired up the grid for the next part of this, but we are going to try and go for a lap. I doubt we'll be able to make any improvements. Our teammate is ahead of us. Turn one, I just know we're not going to make any improvements. We're already wide and we're already round, as that is not the best thing that could have happened to us there. As across the line we are 37 seconds down on our best lap time. That is just not gonna cut it really. But for now, P16, let's get into this race.
Welcome once again then to the United States Grand Prix here in the magnificent city of Austin. It was here in 2018 that Kimi Raikkonen delighted the world by taking the top step of the podium for the first time in 114 races. There's always a record to be broken, so what, I wonder, is in store for us here today? It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, edging out Sergio Perez, who lines up P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Ocon, Pierre Gasly and Leclerc, Zhou, Magnussen, Bottas and Lewis Hamilton. Verstappen, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. The engineer, Fernando Alonso and Tsunoda. Albon, they've taken a grid penalty. Mick Schumacher, Nicholas Latifi and George Russell. Ricciardo and Sebastian Vettel starts from the back of the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Okay guys, so as you can see from the grid sequence, we have been moved up the order. We're up 4 places. We're into P12. We're now behind Max Verstappen, reigning world champion, trying to go for his second title. He has been slowly closing up to Charles Leclerc in the last few races. Maybe we can try and stop him at getting some more positions. Hamilton ahead of us on softs. We're getting ready for the 5 red lights around Cota, trying to heat the tyres, something we've been struggling with in the Aston Martin all season. That's why it's been so kind of hard for us when we come out the pits on softs, but not softs, hards. But for now, we're going to 5 red lights. Red Bull, actually McLaren on pole, Red Bull on side. We go green in Cota. Pretty bad start for us. We're starting to bonk down. Can we make up some more on the outside? Braking a bit late. We're up the inside. I believe that's Zhou Guanyu. He completely disappears. Actually, no, it's actually Bottas, sorry. Zhou Guanyu is ahead of us. We're ahead of Bottas off the start. Is Schumacher on the softs going to try and get around us? No, he cannot. We kind of... Oh, we squeeze him out a bit there. We have to cut the track slightly there to avoid Schumacher. Got to keep going. Got to get back up to the back of Max Verstappen and Zhou Guanyu, as is still the first lap. We have caught up to them. As you can see, we have the advantage through the corners, but now you're going to see on the straights, this is going to be where we're going to lose most of our time as we dive up the inside of Max Verstappen, so close to hitting our front wing on the diffuser of Guanyu Zhou and getting damage, but not quite. We just about missed him by a couple of millimeters. But you can see on the straight, we are so down on speed compared to the other cars as Max Verstappen now dives up the inside of Zhou Guanyu. As the place we gained at the start of the straight, we then lose at the end of it, as now we just got to focus on getting through these cars. We try and have a sneaky little look out the inside of Zhou Guanyu, unsuccessful from ourselves. Almost a bit of a spin there. We had to correct ourselves through there. Twice we had to correct ourselves through there. Round the long right-hander now, trying to just modulate the throttle, get as much throttle down as possible without spinning the car. As you can see, we are losing slightly to Zhou Guanyu, but through the corners we gain a lot. As for now, we just got to try and just stay with them, keeping their DRS, because that's the thing that's going to keep us in this race. As through this first tight twisty section is where we should gain most of our time. So yellow flag behind us. What has happened? Oh, Daniel Ricciardo's out of the session, and that is going to be the VSC. Let's take a look at what happened on board with Daniel Ricciardo. He looks to be going on for a move on our teammate Sebastian Vettel, and he hits the back of the Williams ahead of Nicholas Latifi, and he's out of the race. Takes our teammate with him, but our teammate Sebastian Vettel is going to keep going. Unlucky for Ricciardo, but lucky for Vettel that he's going to keep going in this race. As now VSC ending, we have actually managed to gain some time under the VSC to Zhou Guanyu. As let's see if we can we go wide a lot there, as we just gotta keep going, keep pushing. As lap 3 now onto the straight, we're gonna have DRS on Zhou Guanyu, we're gonna have ERS. Can we try and make a move? As you can see, he's got so much grip and a really good excellent top straight line speed, but we're just not able to capitalize with the DRS and ERS. We actually lock up in the corner there. We managed to stop ourselves quite well. See if we can keep with the Alfa Romeo. Our main goal is just to outscore that Haas that's 3 places up on us. But for now, we're just going to sit behind the Alfa Romeo. It's lap 3. We've got 25 laps to make moves. And yeah, there's no point risking the front wing on lap 3 for something that we don't even need to do. Sergio Perez sets the fastest lap time, as we once again have DRS on Zhou Guanyu. A little bit of a snap on the exit, so we set our fastest lap time of the race. On to lap 4 on the straight, activate the DRS. We got the slipstream, as you can see. Slipstream, GRS and ERS. We are faster than the cars. Can we brake late and try and get around the outside? Yellow flags behind. Zhou Guanyu locks up. We almost hit him, but we are going to go around the outside of the Alfa Romeo driver, and we are up into the points paying positions of P10. As we did have, yellow flags again. Fernando Alonso is out of the session. Bad luck for the Spaniard. Let's see what's going on here. Going along the straight, he seems to go quite slow here already. I believe he's got an engine failure side by side with the Williams, slowing him down a bit. But yeah, I believe that is Fernando Alonso with an engine failure. Bad luck for the Spaniard. Hopefully he can pick up some more points in the straight. So I believe he's not had the best of seasons. As for now, we are now onto the back of the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. Can we get past him? Diving up the inside of turn 1. Not quite. We back out of that. Don't want to fight with the Dutchman and risk losing our wings here. As Zhou Guanyu is about 7 tenths behind us. He's got about a similar gap that we have to Max Verstappen. But as you can see, we're closing in on the Red Bull through the tight, twisty first sector. Actually, I found out the other day, modelled after Magnussen Beckett's. I didn't know that. But for now, lap 6, going to start in lap 7. Hamilton is going to pit. He obviously started on the soft tyres, so at some point in the race, he's probably going to appear on the outside. We go round the outside of Max Verstappen. We'll try to, rather. Can we get past him? No, we cannot. But that was a pretty on-the-minute move there. I don't know what the fuck that means. Right now, Verstappen and then Magnussen, the Haas that we need to get ahead of by the end of this race. As for now, lap 7, going on to straight, we're actually almost losing DRS on the Max Verstappen. That is not the best possibility for us. As you can see, we gained so much time into the hairpin before the straight that we just, I don't know what to call it. We just get DRS, but then when we brake for that corner, we go to like 5 tenths. So it's a really weird thing. But out of the hairpin, we are now right back on the back of Max Verstappen. Lap 8 now. Can we have a little look up the inside? We just about get on the inside and we are through on the Red Bull of Max Verstappen, which is probably going to be one of the more crucial moves that we're going to make in this Grand Prix, because we've got to get ahead of Kevin Magnussen. I know I'm saying a lot about getting past the Hasses, but that is pretty much our main objective and goal in this championship. As I just want to finish as high up in the constructors standings as possible. Now, a little example of what I was saying before. You can see at the DRS line we're 7 tenths back, but the time we're out of the corner we're 5 tenths away. We're getting about 2 or 3 tenths in that corner. As you can see, we're just under 50% ERS battery, as we have, to be honest, we have plenty of battery to be working with. The Aston Martin is very good at harvesting energy, as the Haas is now actually kind of stuck behind Pierre Gasly's AlphaTauri, which is really helping us in this race. P6 is in our sights. It's where we hope to end up in this race, but we've got the very fast Dutchman Max Verstappen behind us, 2021 world champion behind us, not 2022 yet. I want to point that out. This is 2022, what we're simulating in our alternate F1 universe. We go round the outside of the Haas. So Max Verstappen is still a one-time world champion in this series. Can he make it 2 by the end of the year? I don't know, but we're now past the Haas of Kevin Magnussen up into P7. We've lost Pierre Gasly a bit, but we are going to reel him back through the corners. As I said, AI have a lot more straight line speed than us. We have a lot more downforce, which, to be honest, is pretty much working out for us. We can keep in their DRS, but as soon as I think we start leading the pack is where we are going to be losing out, having to use a lot of DRS to try and maybe defend. So I think it's probably better if we stay behind the Frenchman Pierre Gasly for a bit, as there's 7 seconds to Charles Leclerc. We're not going to be catching that. As you can see, even on the straight with DRS and ERS being deployed, we're only gaining about 3 tenths on the AlphaTauri, which to be honest is pretty decent, but I expect probably more like 5 tenths at this point. As you can see now on the next lap, Kevin Magnussen coming back at us on the Haas. We have DRS, he has DRS, but he just has more straight line speed. He brakes late and he actually hits the back of Pierre Gasly. You can see a bit of carbon fibre flying off under our floor. We were very lucky to not get floor damage there, as that means that the Haas of Kevin Magnussen is definitely going to have to pit, as we almost do the exact same thing to Pierre Gasly that Kevin Magnussen does. I assume, well, I'm going to guess, it was a pretty solid knock from Kevin Magnussen, so I'd assume that Pierre Gasly might just have diffuser damage to his AlphaTauri, which might make him a bit slower. Can we go for the overtake? Are we going to be overtaken by the Dutchman Max Verstappen into turn 1? He's going to try and get around the outside as he switches to the inside line, and then he hits Pierre Gasly as well. The AI just can't overtake us without using Gasly as a brake, and that's just going to be destroying Gasly's diffuser. But Verstappen is through. He doesn't have wing damage. Gasly at this point must have diffuser damage. I just can't see how he wouldn't have diffuser damage. But now we're right on the back of the 2 Red Bull powertrains cars. One of them definitely a lot faster than the other, and one of them with a very skilled Dutchman in, and the other with a very skilled Frenchman in. But I think the Dutchman definitely wants to be further ahead than he is now. Max Verstappen, he'll have the speed on the straight. Can he get past Pierre Gasly? Can we maybe pick up the scraps from this battle? We've been trying to charge our ERS, not being that successful really. He doesn't go for the move on Pierre Gasly. That's the line that we should have been taking in qualifying. We were being pretty cautious in qualifying actually. We needed to be more aggressive with the car. But for now, we are now coming into the pits. I believe this is lap 14, I want to say. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to say it's lap 14. Don't quote me on that. As the Red Bull comes in, and the AlphaTauri is going to come in. Mercedes in behind as well. Everyone's in the pits this lap. We don't need a front wing change. We're going to take the medium compound tyres off. We're going to put the hards on. And we actually are going to manage to get out ahead of the AlphaTauri. Our pit crew doing a stellar job to get us in and out quickly. Behind the Red Bull, our teammates, they're fighting with a Haas. I believe it was Mick Schumacher. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's Mick Schumacher. It's got the yellow T-cam. As now we are 1 car up from where we went into the pits, and we now have Max Verstappen ahead of us, the sole car ahead of us, as we are down in P12, but there are cars that haven't pitted yet, so we should move up the order. I believe we're in a net P7. I want to say a net P7. As you can see, Verstappen really well eating up his tyres. One of the things that we're having problems with in the Aston Martin is tyre warming. AI, they do have OP tyre warming, as I don't feel they have temperature, but we're still managed to keep up. We got DRS, that'll be a huge advantage. It's now onto lap 18, we're ahead of Verstappen. I must have missed a bit, sorry. As Hamilton is just coming out the pits now. Are we going to come out side by side with him? We actually run wide a bit, Max Verstappen's going to get past. We get a warning for track limits. Max Verstappen side by side with us. We are now ahead of the Dutchman. We've now got Hamilton ahead of us on the medium tyres. If we can stay in his DRS, he can drag us probably at a bit quicker pace than what we're going on these hards. So can we keep with Hamilton? That's the main point in this. He is pulling away 7 tenths ahead of us, but we are now going to get DRS on the straight. Esteban Ocon in the Alpine in a very solid P4, 10 seconds ahead of the nearest car ahead of him. Hamilton has disappeared up the road by lap 20 though. He's actually catching the Frenchman of Esteban Ocon as we're being caught by Max Verstappen, who is now going for the overtake. We duck into his slipstream, try and get some more pace in here. He brakes actually really late. Can we get the cut back on him? No, he perfectly blocks the apex. Really nice racing between us here with the Dutchman. Something you probably don't really, well, I'm going to say, in earlier years, you don't really associate clean racing with Max Verstappen, but it's actually quite fun to race him in the F1 games. Now, George Russell is going to hit the back of him, and we're going to go around the outside of both of them. We're now side by side with Max Verstappen. We get a collision with Verstappen. I don't think we touched Verstappen. So the FIA getting I think a bit confused there. I've looked at it in the replay. I don't think we touched Verstappen at all. So bit confused there. We're now on board with Charles Leclerc. So I believe he's being attacked by Lewis Hamilton. The Ferrari looking to be going very slowly. It's a tactical move to maybe get DRS on Lewis Hamilton, but he's going very slow. Oh, I think he's got an engine failure. The championship leader has an engine failure. What a shame for Charles Leclerc. As you can see, Esteban Ocon going through. What a shame for the Ferrari man. That's going to put a dent in his championship lead. But now back to our POV. We're defending against George Russell with his hard tyres behind us. I believe they're a bit fresher. Not too much fresher, but he has got a lot of pace on us. Can we get back ahead in the hairpin like we've done quite a few times in this race? But sadly not going to be successful. George Russell ahead of us in the Mercedes. Zhou Guanyu still behind us in the Alfa Romeo. But once again, we're going to go up the inside at turn 1. Locking up a bit, banging wheels with George Russell, and once again fighting with the Mercedes. We're in P5. Zhou Guanyu in the Alpha, still behind as he has been most of this race, just kind of tailing us at a distance, but not quite being able to get to the end finishing point of pass, because we're in P5, final lap of the race. Can we stay ahead of George Russell onto, this is probably the main final overtaking zone he's probably going to have. He dives down our inside going into the straight. We run a bit wide. He's going to have DRS on us. So we're going to deploy all our battery here, trying to stay ahead of the Mercedes man. He goes right round our outside. Little bit of contact with the Mercedes there. He's going to defend the inside line, which leaves us fully open to break as late as we want on the outside line. We're going to try and get round the outside of George Russell. We stay ahead in P5 in this race. Can we hold the car together? Lewis Hamilton sets the fastest lap of the race. Sergio Perez wins the Grand Prix as we are going to come across the line in P5 for Aston Martin at Cota. What a race, guys. That was probably one of my best races that I have ever probably done in this driver career mode. Lewis Hamilton, driver of the day, but we just picked up 10 solid points for Aston Martin. I believe that's 10 up on the Haas F1 team, which is going to be great for us. For Checo Perez wins. I believe that's Lando Norris in second and Lewis Hamilton in third place there. Brilliant win for Checo, the man retiring at the end of the season, as yeah, it's going to be sad to see him go, but he's on a major run of form since he announced his retirement a few races ago. I believe he's won 2 out of 3 of them. So yeah, very, very, very well done from the Red Bull man. As you see now, coming up for, I believe this is, yeah, second win in 3 races. Actually, did he win Monza as well, or was that, no, that was Verstappen. That was Verstappen that won Monza. But still, Red Bull have been dominating the second half of the season. Maybe we, nah, I'm not going to say anything. Maybe they'll try and keep it into next season. I'm not sure, but we got P5. We are going to be staying up there, trying to build our advantage over the Haas team. They've had a lot, I don't want to say a lot faster car. They're higher than us on the chart, so maybe we might just be able to hold this P7. But they have been looking strong in the last few races. We're in P11 in the driver's standings, and we're on 51 points, 1 point ahead of Haas in the constructors standings. It is so close between our two teams. Ferrari lead the Constructors' Championships from Mercedes. As well, guys, if you've enjoyed, well, I hope you enjoyed. If you have, could you please like and subscribe? We're trying to get to 500 subscribers by the end of 2023. It would mean the world to me if you guys could. And I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time for the Mexico City Grand Prix. I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.